Sales are the lifeline of each and every single business that exists on this planet. Without sales, you can't actually make any money. If you can't make any money, you can't afford to feed yourself, you can't afford to pay staff, can't afford to pay for your overheads, and all of a sudden, the business goes completely bust. You need sales to be able to run your business. And with the current state and the current perception and the prejudices that people have against sales, it's a little bit of a dichotomy because it makes me wonder why, whenever sales are so important, so many people, especially in the UK, have such a negative view or a negative bias towards the idea of sales. For example, you can look in any movie, Wolf of Wall Street obviously being the biggest one, or if you look in The Simpsons, you've got Mr. Burns, who's super rich. Jordan Belfort, Mr. Burns, they're all painted in a negative light. They're salesmen, they're rich, and it creates this sort of echo chamber of people thinking that sales and making money within your business is a bad thing. But is that really the case? If everybody views that as being a bad thing, that's going to hold people back subconsciously from actually making sales or pushing for more sales within their business. But if we actually look at sales at a fundamental or a basic level, what actually is it? You're exchanging a service, in this instance, obviously, for mortgage advice or an item, whatever it may be. But let's go with service. You're exchanging a service for money. So you're going to a person, offering them a service, they're giving you money in exchange for that. But at the very basic level, what we're doing is we're going to somebody who has a problem, being that they can't find a suitable mortgage, they're struggling to get into a home, struggling to manage their finances, whatever it may be, and we're giving them a solution to that. Now, the way I see it, just on a basic level, that is a good thing. And I don't see where anybody can really argue with that. And if we were through that times 100, we're going to make 100 more sales, but we're also going to help 100 more people. And at a basic level, I really don't see any negativity coming into it. So, in my eyes, that is obviously a very, very good thing. The issue comes whenever people have an obsession around the money as opposed to an obsession around actually helping people providing the service. So, the reason that I ranted about that was because I wanted to get it out of the way that sales is absolutely a good thing. There should be absolutely no apprehension around pushing for more sales in your business if you believe that what you're doing is actually good for the planet and for everybody that you work with. As a mortgage advisor and as somebody who's watching this video, I can only go ahead and assume that that is absolutely the case. And I want to encourage you to push for more sales. But with that being said, that can be a little easier said than done. I'm going to assume that you at least built your business, more than likely, off of friends, family, very close and very warm referrals who didn't really need much of a sales process, so to speak, or a sales framework. They knew you were getting started, and they said, oh yeah, I could do with some help. And they allowed you to get involved and obviously build some experience, build a bit of a CV for yourself as well. And then moving outwards, you can get a bit more through word of mouth, through networking, things like that, and getting your name out there. And once again, super warm leads, and you can continue to work with those guys. Doesn't need much of a sales framework or sales process either. But the problem comes whenever you want to really grow your business. All of a sudden, you need a lot more sales. And you're not going to be able to do that by just waiting on the phone to ring and waiting on people to come to you. Because you really need to take this thing by the horns and take control of the level of sales and level of business that you're doing if you want to reach new heights. And that's where the sales comes in. And people simply don't know how to do it or don't have the knowledge to do it because it's never been shown to them, because word of mouth and referrals are still the biggest form of business, and repeat business as well from your current client base is still the biggest form of business that the majority of people are out here doing. But you can see that that's a problem because it's self-sufficient, yes, but self-sufficient at the same level, and it doesn't necessarily just magically expand all of a sudden and blow up your business overnight. But there are still other ways that you can generate leads, albeit, yes, they're going to be a bit colder. It's going to be a case of generating these leads, social media, online, whatever it may be. But I want to today provide a sales framework. Now, this is the sales framework that I'm using within my own business that we're implementing across all the brokers that I'm working with. And it's working much, much better than, oh, hey, do you want to buy my stuff? What? No. And hang it. Because that's the reason that everybody perceives Facebook leads, buying leads, so on and so forth, to be of such low quality, because that's typically how the sales process goes. But we have to recognize that those leads are going to be different from word of mouth leads, and that they will need a bit more of a warm-up process or a nurture process, a bit of a better sales framework to get them from stranger to buying their stuff. And it's that trust, that middle part, that has been cut out. So I want to discuss how we can actually build that trust over Obviously, a bit more time and a bit more effort. But if you want to grow your business, it's going to take time and effort. So you don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, I also want to make it as simple as possible and as easy as possible for you to implement. At the end of this video, I'm even going to refer you down to the description where there's a link to actually capture my specific system. I'll literally give you the link for free after we run through it. But I want to always explain it, make sure that you understand it, because if you just download it without understanding it and seeing how it works, it's not going to make an awful lot of sense. So if you want to bear with me for the next 5-10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and run you through that exact sales system that I'm using that allows you to convert the colder leads. And this is ultimately what's going to allow you to expand your business. Because if we're just relying on word of mouth and people ringing the phone, then it's unpredictable. You're not going to be able to grow your business. So for those who are looking to grow their business, those who want more sales, by all means, bear with me for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to take you through that exact framework over on the laptop. So let's do it.
Okay, guys, so when it comes to dealing with your leads that you're working with off of referrals, off word of mouth, the sales process more than likely goes a little like this. You speak with them initially over the phone, maybe you have a Zoom call as well there, you get them to send over their documents, you have them send them over via email after the initial call, you go ahead, get them an agreement in principle, get back to them, maybe have another call to make an official application, and yeah, it's all done and dusted. And that's fine because they like, know, and trust you. But whenever it comes to colder leads, they're not necessarily going to already know, like, and trust you. So we want to have the right systems in place to obviously build that up. And this is the exact system that we're using at the minute to help with converting those colder leads. So there's 2 pipelines whenever it comes to this. There's the marketing pipeline, and this is to actually generate leads and get in touch with them. And then there is the sales pipeline. You don't need to worry about the marketing pipeline. I'm doing this on the basis that you already have a good system for leads. If you don't have a good system for leads, watch any other video of mine on YouTube and you'll obviously learn how to generate leads. But once we have generated the leads in the first place, the colder leads, let's say they're from Facebook, Instagram ads, whatever it may be, we need to find a way to, number 1, get them on the phone, number 2, get them interested in us and the service that we can help them with, and number 3, convince them that we're the right person to go ahead and submit their application with. So let's actually talk through the process. Introduction booked is exactly where you want to get people to. This is the whole goal of the marketing pipeline, to get people on for an introduction call. And the whole point of an introduction call, if I'm being honest, is to qualify or disqualify leads. And this is qualify them on their intent, on whether or not they're actually going to go ahead with this. And number 2, qualify them or disqualify them on their eligibility as well. You might speak with somebody and they might say, oh yeah, I'm looking to buy a home. Let's say they make a submission, for example, on your ad, and they say that they're looking to buy a home. They earn £100,000, whatever it may be, and they have no credit issues. But whenever you actually look into it, you find that they're self-employed and their business did 100,000. They take home 12.5, for example, and they actually have 500 outstanding CCJs in the past couple of months that they didn't know of for whatever reason. You're going to be able to disqualify that lead, at which point you can just remove them from the pipeline. But if it is actually them genuinely earning £100,000 and they have no credit issues, blah, 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 you get the picture, then you're going to want to go ahead and actually try and pursue that lead. So whenever they show up for the introduction, at that stage, you can go ahead and explain, listen, okay, cool, we need this, and I'm going to need to see that in document form. So to really understand how much you can afford to borrow and what would actually be available to yourself, we're going to need to have another call to discuss those documents over that call. At that stage, you want to book them in for an advancement call. So the whole goal of the introduction call is not only to qualify or disqualify people, but also to get them booked in for an advancement call. And the advancement call is where you're really going to be able to actually take the sale a little bit further. So introduction booked. Bear with me, laptop's being a bit slow. You want to get them into the advancement call. Now, obviously, you can see here, there's a couple of stages in between that. Intro attended, intro no-show. So obviously, whenever you put them into intro attended, this is obviously just to stay on top of things. This is, for me, staying on top of client pipelines, but you probably wouldn't need these stages, obviously, if it's just you doing it yourself. And people may not show up. This is something that I want to be very transparent about as well. But that doesn't mean that you want to just bin them off in the pipeline and stop pursuing them. It just means that they didn't show up for the call. More than likely because it was a bit colder, they don't know you, they probably don't respect your time just yet, but that doesn't mean that, you can't still work with this person. If you go ahead and get them on a call and provide them enough value, provide enough incentive, provide enough curiosity, and really make that gap. So whenever I say gap, if you're watching this, you're a salesman, you understand that the whole premise of sales is current situation, desired situation, and you are the bridge between that gap. So you need to widen that gap and prove to them that you are actually the bridge between those two positions. And you can do that, but if you haven't yet done it to them, they're going to stop. They're going to start ghosting your calls. So you need to prove yourself as that transition from where they currently are to where they want to be. And that's what's going to gain the respect and gain the trust that you need to secure their business. But if you haven't got it yet, they might start ghosting. But that doesn't mean you should just give up. Continue to follow up with them. Call 1, call 2, call 3. If they don't pick up, eventually you want to give up on them. Maybe check in with them every couple of months, whatever it may be. But you don't need to continue pouring your time into it. But the whole goal is qualify or disqualify and get them booked in for an advancement call. Whenever you get them in for the advancement call, this is when you can really start selling. It's where the emotional tie-in comes in as well. So you want to hammer down on where it is that they currently stand and what it is that they're looking to do, and position yourself as the specific solution to that bridge, to that gap. You want to think of like lock and key theory, for example. So you have a lock, it's got certain crevices and certain bends, wherever you want. You want to be the key that perfectly fits those, and provide yourself as the solution to where it is that they're looking to go. And obviously, whenever you've got their documents, it saves you from having to wait on them with sending over documents. You don't have to chase up on them, whatever else it may be, because we all know how it is. You send off an email, for example, oh, I need this, this, and this, and you never hear from them again. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it on an advancement call instead. That way you don't have to worry about chasing up with people. You don't have to worry about people getting back to emails or wondering if this person's going to come back. It removes the loose ends and provides a lot more certainty within your sales process. And that's exactly what we're looking for. If we find out that there's a definitive no, then that's better than just waiting on someone who may be a yes. I'd rather have a definitive no than a completely open-ended sales pipeline with no way of telling where anybody's going to go. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that one. My brother just got back from Egypt. I wanted to go say hello. But where were we? Advancement call. So obviously the purpose of the advancement call is to go ahead, actually have that discussion around their documents. It cuts out that process of having to follow up with people and adds a bit more certainty. You are going to get some scenarios where people ghost the advancement call, but it's fine. We can anticipate this. We obviously want to do our best to remove this as well. So let's say, for example, we're having a discussion with somebody in the introduction call and we say, okay, cool, so we're going to have another call. How does Monday at 4 p.m? So they're like, it should be fine. Then you want to push on that. Don't let people walk over you. You want to push on it. You want to say, listen, are you sure that you can make it for 4 p.m? If not, it's fine. I'm just here to help at the end of the day. But if it would help that we had another time or we didn't do it for another couple of weeks, then that's absolutely fine as well. At which point they might say, yeah, actually it would help if we left it. But you might be thinking, oh, well, they're just going to waste my time. They're just tire kickers. Number one, you can always disqualify people and kick them out of the pipeline. Not necessarily kick them out of the pipeline. This is something I'm going to get onto as well about nurturing people over time too. But at the same time, it's also like, we're talking about your business here, right? You want to grow, I assume. It's on you to provide that incentive and to create that curiosity and be a good salesman to recognize that this person can actually get what they want through you. And if they recognize that, they're going to be inclined to show up for that call. But if they ghost, maybe you didn't provide enough value on the call. You didn't provide enough curiosity or incentive for them to actually come onto the advancement call. It just seems to them like another step in this process that they don't want to be involved in. You need to be able to create that gap, provide the bridge and the solution to what it is that they're looking for and what they're struggling with. And whenever you effectively position yourself in that place, then they're going to be more inclined to show up for the advancement call. Once we're on the advancement call, there's only so many options that we can have here. So maybe they don't show up, fingers crossed, but let's assume that that they do show up. They might end up in one of 4 sections. Follow-up required, note, and follow-up, FUP, follow-up. I've written note here because we're going to get some strange instances. So, for example, we had one the other week. Somebody who's looking to purchase, everything is fine other than their deposit. Reason being, they have a house in the Philippines which they need to sell before they can get the cash to put down as a deposit on a new property here in the UK. So we put them under follow-up required with a note saying that we're waiting on the sale of the property in the Philippines before they can actually get the cash needed to put down a deposit on a house in the UK. And we'll check in with them in a couple of months whenever the property has been sold, at which point we can re-engage the whole process and actually get them through for an application. Proceeding to application. Brilliant. Everything has been done from a sales and marketing standpoint. Fingers crossed that'll go through and you'll actually get paid. Well done. If not, there's 2 stages here. Not proceeding internal. So not proceeding internal. This is an eligible lead. 100% they can go ahead and do something. Credit's good, deposit's good, affordability's good, whatever it may be. but they're not going ahead. The reason that we put this down as internal is because we have not been able to close the sale. It is on us that that lead has not gone through. And this isn't to say that it's completely dead or anything like that. Like, we can check in with this person in a certain period of time, whatever it may be. And this is also where we're going to talk about nurture as well. So I have it here, email nurture. If you do this without some form of way to convert people over time that doesn't involve just hammering them with phone calls, then you're going to be in trouble too. I'm doing this on the basis that you can actually go ahead and get a proper email nurture sequence written out and sent out to all of these leads, every single one of them, and that you have a proper social media presence in place. You need organic presence here to actually get people sold on you as an individual or as a business. If you don't have that, then you're going to put people into not proceeding internal or email nurture and just leave them, let them forget about you. Let them maybe enter somebody else's sales funnel who's better than yours, get nurtured by them, and have your competitors steal your sale. I'm relying on you watching this to have something in place. And if you need help with things in place, watch any of the rest of my videos. I've got plenty on it. You need to have something in place. You can't just put somebody there and think, oh, in 6 months' time, I'm entitled to the business. So, for example, they say, kind of, maybe check in with me in 3 months, check in with me in 6 months. It doesn't mean that in 6 months that straight away they're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, let's do it. Yeah, let's go. I said it 6 months ago, so I'm gonna stick to my word and do my business with you because I owe you that. No, they don't owe you that. They don't owe you anything. You need to position yourself as the bridge from where they currently are and where they want to go. Sales. You want to get good at sales. And again, if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to get good at sales, take it back at the start of the video. What is sales? It's providing a solution to somebody in pain. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. So don't worry about Jordan Belfort going to jail or Mr. Burns in The Simpsons getting portrayed as a bad guy or any other negative implications that have been made about rich people. It's okay. You're helping people. All you're doing is creating a bigger impact on the world. So don't worry about it. But you need to have that nurture process in place as well. You want to show them your testimonials. You want to tell them specifically how you can help. You want to talk to their pain points, get them emotionally involved in you. Emotion, energy in motion will cause them to act and do things such as do business with you, which is what we want. Cool. Not proceeding internal and email nurture out of the way. Not proceeding external. This is just for people who aren't actually eligible. So they showed up for the advancement call and you realize that their affordability is actually a little bit messy and they aren't eligible at the minute for what they want. Throw them into not proceeding external. This isn't to say that you can't close that business either. You want to have the email nurture for these guys as well. Excuse me. Let's say, for example, they're still saving for a deposit or they have only been in their job for a year, for example, and they need 2 years. Then, cool. Check in with them eventually. But at the same time, this is a pipeline-driven business. This is literally a pipeline. You can see here, pipelines. This is literally a pipeline. You need to recognize that just because you generate a lead, for example, into your system, and it doesn't go ahead on the very first day of speaking with them, that they won't ever go ahead. You need to work on a pipeline basis. So don't just bin off somebody if they're not eligible straight away. Continue to nurture that person, continue to check in with them and see how things are going, and recognize that this is going to be a long game for some of these people. Don't get me wrong, some people will go ahead straight away, but for a lot of them, it's going to be a case that you need a little bit more nurture, you need a bit more of a stringent process in place to actually secure that business as well. But for the ones that are ready, hopefully this has provided, obviously, a good enough framework for you to follow. For those of you who are wondering, this system that I'm using, so it's called Go High Level. If you want access to literally my direct snapshot, then send me a message on Instagram. If you want to go to my Instagram, it's the third link in the description. Go ahead, click on that, send me the word snapshot, and I'll obviously give you access to this direct snapshot. But if you want access to the software, specifically Go High Level, you can see here, it'll be the second link in the description. You can actually get a 14-day free trial. And you can literally see this for yourself. You probably already have a CRM, but if you're open to the idea of, I suppose, implementing this pipeline, or if you think that this will work well for your business, then by all means, go ahead, give it a go. It's completely free. You can get access to the snapshot as well if you send me snapshot on Instagram. I'm not going to try and sell you in the DMs, by the way, don't worry. I'll just give it to you. And yeah, if you do want me to sell to you, then click on the first link in the description, and I can do all of this for you. But that is obviously with a disclaimer that I'm going to try and sell to you if you click on the link. But if you just want to do it all for free for yourself, other three links, then go ahead, click on those, and you can get yourself sorted out. If you want a video on sales specifically, I know that this is just sales framework, but on specifically how to actually handle each one of these calls, then by all means, I can make that video. So if anybody would be interested in seeing it, go ahead, comment as well, or maybe send me a message too, and I'm more than happy to try and make something like that. Because obviously, converting colder leads is different from converting warmer ones, and I hope I've made that point clear within this video. But with that being said, I hope that this was of some value to yourself for watching this. I appreciate you watching this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video as well. All the best.